Hi, I am Madeline. At least that's the name that Ash Kelly used in her articles about me in News 1130. And I know Liza has put links to them at the bottom of the GoFundMe. I I wanted to express my gratitude for the people who have shared into the GoFundMe. I really appreciate it. It's been a really surreal experience, deteriorating and dying from poverty. Poverty meeting a health obstacle. So I originally thought that I was going to die in December. And then the GoFundMe money got me to March. And, it's weird having this death clock for 3 months. And then suddenly the GoFundMe picked up a little bit of steam again. And it looks like I have until June. And it's this weird feeling like June, I will die in June. It's like I'm sitting here right now and sun is coming through my window. And one of the treatments we tried has me feeling like a little less horrifyingly awful kind of thing. And, yesterday I went out and I was looking at the blossoms, and I've been doing that a lot. I've been thinking a lot about, do I get to see the blossoms next year? Thinking about the impermanence, how fast they go, and thinking about life, and thinking about, Liza and Al, who are advocating on my behalf, which has been such an unexpected blessing. They really want me to go public. And I'm sure many people are like, why is she anonymized? And I know it's hard to feel a connection to somebody if you don't know their name and you don't know some of the specifics of their daily life. And I get it. I get it. But, I had, as Ash had talked about in the articles, I had been medically advised to not go public, that the pressure of public pressure would be more than my health was up for. And that is true. I mean, it would blow up my life as well. It would interfere with my community building because everybody would want to talk about it. Everybody would have an opinion. And I get it. I don't want to, squelch that. But I'm hanging on by purpose. I'm hanging on by my volunteer work. It's much abbreviated, and I do most of it from my bed, but at least I feel like I still have a connection to the world. So anyway, on one of these, out with my mobility scooter, looking at the blossoms, sitting under a tree, and I'm thinking, maybe this is a different kind of blessing. That it's not safe or wise for me to reveal my identity. Maybe it gives the opportunity to really have a conversation about the fact that we are all Madeline. We are all vulnerable to disability. We are all mortal. In a heartbeat, it can happen. In illness, attack, injury, temporary, permanent, it's coming for us all. It doesn't matter how healthy you are. Age, can be a factor for, I think, pretty much everyone in the end. And that the current PWD, which means person with disability assistance rates, are $1,000 less than a healthy person's minimum wage. So what you consider the minimum for a healthy person. And it always costs more to be disabled. That in our supports, we are in the same category as a healthy low-income earner, even though we are $1,000 behind that. And it always costs dramatically more to be ill and to need supports in a variety of ways. And the supports themselves, are far below the governing body rates, what supports there are. And, the conversations I keep having are, it always costs the system more to allow a PWD to deteriorate unless it is socially acceptable to allow someone to suffer unimaginably and die. And that's where I am. And then in some conversations with a government body, they were saying, oh, it's too expensive. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, you save a whole crap ton of money in the long run, but in the short term, if you give a PWD the money and supports that they need, it flows right back out into the community in employment on a host of fronts, not just medical. But, like I need a housekeeper. I need pre-made meals. I need to be saving energy every single solitary way I can. And this is told to me by a hospital. Like, this is not just somebody going, oh, you should, these are medical, prescriptions, products on a host of fronts. And this varies from, health challenge to health challenge. But like, there's really no way that it isn't an economic stimulus. And I keep hearing that bandied about. It's like, well, this is like a direct front line right back into the community. And then, of course, you have, if a person can take care of themselves, if they're not falling apart headlong, some people can work while they're keeping in mind that PWD on assistance, rates being what they are, and the fact that it always costs a PWD more to work. They have to come up with accommodations for their disability. And then you've got people like myself that can't work. It's proved to be massively problematic because of the unpredictable nature of my illnesses. And volunteering, these nonprofits are much more equipped to handle unpredictable health scenarios with a volunteer, and they get talent and experience and passion for free. So, all I can do is think like what I have created while I'm disabled in regards to community building, and how much more I could have been doing if I hadn't have been headlong deteriorating. And I feel super frustrated by that. And I know that's I'm just a microcosm of a larger issue. So anyway, I guess I just wanted to reach out and say hi. Ash is left her position on News 1130 and is doing a podcast now. And so we did an interview, and I no small part because I'm not entirely certain I'm going to make it to June, because I'm doing the very bare minimum of what I need so I don't immediately die. I am headlong deteriorating. And it's been really scary, very, very, very scary. And I've known what's coming for me for a long time, because the same thing happened to my grandmother. And I go into much more detail on all the whys and wherefores of that in the podcast, so I won't trouble you with that now. But oh boy, so Tired Brain has lost her train of thought, as per usual. The perils of mitochondrial disorder. I guess what I wanted to say is, because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen from moment to moment, thank you. Thank you for your support. And, when I had that little aha moment about us all being Madeline, I thought, if you feel like you want to support me or support the larger idea that what's happening to me and so many other PWD on assistance is not acceptable, then I invite you to let it be known that you are Madeline. A hashtag if you want, or a t-shirt or a button, I don't know. It seems a kind of a shorthand to start a conversation. And you can direct them to the articles that Ash wrote, and when the podcast is up, you could direct them to the podcast. And I guess for me, because I don't know I don't know if I make it to June, but I want everything I've gone through and how horrible it's been to have purpose and meaning. And so if it can't help me, it would be really nice to know that it maybe helps somebody else. So Ash and Liza and Al and some of the government folks, because the bureaucrats, we have had communication with some of the bureaucrats, and they've really done the best. Like once I got connected sort of higher up the food chain, they really did their best to help me. But they are prohibited by current law, and current law is I don't know a nice way to say what it is right now, but it's not good. Um, they all say that I'm eloquent, and I don't know that I feel eloquent at all. I think I just feel mostly molasses brained and tired, and I mean, I really don't want to die in June, you know. So I am choosing not to use a voice changer. Apparently, my voice is more recognizable than you would think. That's how Liza found out about it. I didn't tell Liza. I did not tell Liza. Liza recognized me from the little clip on News 1130. And she calls me up and she's like, what's happening? Because most of my friends don't know. So if you do recognize my voice, then I would very much appreciate it if you kind of kept it under your hat and respected that, the importance of the privacy. And I am thinking about it. I know Al and Liza really feel that the GoFundMe could be fulfilled, pretty quickly. And again, they think because I'm somehow so eloquent, but I don't know about that. And B, if it was, and the pressure of all that focus capsized me anyway, then what purpose does it serve? And I guess also I do feel like my medical privacy is a thing for a reason, and it really sucks that I'm begging for my life on the internet, and I don't want, like, when Liza says I'm proud, that seems like it would be a bad thing, but I guess I'd like to maintain some measure of, is the word dignity? I'm not sure what the word is. It's just, this is all hard enough as it is. It's all embarrassing enough. And Liza's like, no, why are you embarrassed? Like, you didn't do anything. I'm like, yeah, but I can't take care of myself. And I fought and fought and fought and searched and read and shook medical trees all over the place and spent money I don't have, and I'm in debt to a horrifying amount. So, I don't know. And I know everything is hard for everyone right now with the pandemic. And I think that's another reason I'm putting on my big girl panties and speaking in my own voice. It is because it's so important that the COVID-19 long haulers issues be properly addressed. I am post-viral as well, a different bug. And there is a lot to be said about that. And I say it in the podcast, so I won't say it here. But I think understanding my case helps them a lot. Creating categories of coverage that don't exist right now is super important. Understanding that there are treatments, and that is not something ubiquitously understood among the allopathic community. Well, it's not understood hardly at all, sadly. So if it helps somebody else, even just to know they're not alone. They're not alone. This isn't some new thing. And in the meantime, if you're waiting for the podcast and want to know a little more about at least a portion of the post-viral syndrome, often referred to as myalgic encephalitis or chronic fatigue syndrome, which is a label I hate, or from what I like to call it is a mitochondrial disorder, then on Netflix there's a documentary called Unrest, and I highly recommend it. She's a journalist who came down with it and does a terrific job of presenting what it's like and the history and all the ins and outs. But in the meantime, I hope you stay safe and take good care of yourself, and enjoy each moment, because each moment is so precious. You are Madeline. You are, nothing is permanent. We are so vulnerable. And I know that can sound scary, but it can also contain the gift of being able to cherish every moment. And that's what I'm doing right now as the sun streams in through my window, through the leaves of one of my plants. And it's like, hey, my pain is a 6 right now. Like, that's super exciting. You sort of, you take the good and you make a mountain out of that little molehill, if you will. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for reading Ash's articles. And if you're able, then thanks for sharing into the GoFundMe. And if you're not and you feel comfortable, thanks for, sort of trying to gently put that message forward that we are all Madeline.